Hey, what's up, guys? Mike here, and this may come as a little bit of surprise to you guys who have been following my last walkthrough because I kept talking about Chrono Trigger, but I have decided that I'm actually going to do a full walkthrough of Final Fantasy VII first. The reason I've decided to do that is because I really don't want to put any more of a delay on the Final Fantasy review series. And so I'm going to get through the Final Fantasy reviews before I do my walkthrough of Chrono Trigger. So while I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, I thought I'd do a walkthrough for this game as well. I'm very passionate about this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And so I think this will be a lot of fun. So let's get started with the new game. I freaking love that intro. It is so awesome. Right away, you guys might be able to tell that this doesn't look like the original game. That's because I'm going to be playing it with some PC graphics mods on it. This is the Steam version of the game, and I've applied some mods for the character models and some of the background textures as well. So yeah. If for those of you who are interested in seeing the difference between this version and the original PlayStation version, stick around to the end of the video and I'll do some comparisons. But for now, let's pick up some items off of these soldiers here. They both have potions, but we have a battle to fight first. So a battle system, just for a very quick introduction, works exactly the same way as it does in previous Final Fantasy games if you've played those before, or just very similarly to most, JRPGs that have turn-based battle systems. For now, all you need to do is attack. We're plenty strong enough to take anyone out in one hit. Looks like we leveled up. Alright, make sure you grab the potion off of this guy, and let's head to the left. Right up here, let's talk to these guys. Get a little bit of exposition here about these two forces that are kind of against each other right now, Soldier, or Shinra, and Avalanche. Apparently the character that we're controlling was once with Shinra in the Soldier program, but is now defected and is working with Avalanche. His name's Cloud. Pretty cocky guy, too. And this is Barrett, another one of the main characters in the game. I cannot get over how much better this game looks with these mods on it. It's freaking crazy. You'll see, viewers, at the end of the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, we need to go. Actually, is there something over here? No, there's not. Let's go this way. I'm going to try and do basically a 100% walkthrough, where I, get all the treasure, get all the limit breaks, kill all the optional bosses, do basically everything there is to do in the game. So that's kind of what I'm gunning for here. I know this game pretty darn well. I've played it a lot of times, so hopefully this will be a pretty comprehensive walkthrough of the game. And feel free to follow along with me. If you've never played Final Fantasy VII before, this is a great opportunity to do that. And you can play, if you have the Steam version of the game, I have a video I'll link in the description where you can learn how to install these mods so that you can play it as it looks here in this video. I'll try not to give too much commentary. I don't want to be one of those... I know there are a lot of people out there who, enjoy Let's Plays, and there are a lot of people who don't enjoy Let's Plays. So I'm not going for that sort of style. I'm not going to, be trying to tell jokes the whole time. I'm basically just here to do a full walkthrough of the game. This is more of a video FAQ, really, than it is a Let's Play. So, before we head up that direction, let's come down here and grab a treasure. Contains a Phoenix Down, I believe. Right on. Now let's head up and talk to her. And hop into the elevator. I'm one step ahead of you, Jesse. Wow, this guy's kind of an a-hole. For those of you who are wondering, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite of all the Final Fantasy games in the series. That's not to say that it's I think that it's leaps and bounds better than any of the others. It just slightly has an edge. Because of my history with the game. It was the first game in the series I played. It got me into RPGs, and I really, really enjoy the story a lot. So that's why. But that's not to say that I think it's any better than the other great games in this series. I love Final Fantasy IX. I think Final Fantasy IX is freaking spectacular. I love Final Fantasy VI. It's also freaking amazing. I've gained a newfound appreciation for Final Fantasy V. I've always loved Final Fantasy IV, so not trying to say it's the best, just trying to say I think I like it the best of all the ones I've played. Alright, so since Barrett has a ranged attack, we'll have him shoot the one in the back row. Have Cloud take care of the ones in the front row. I'll explain a lot more about how the battle system works and things like that in a little bit. For now, all you need to do is attack. Nothing complicated. Oh, and another thing I'll do is, I won't show every battle, so basically anytime there's a new enemy, I'll show them off. But for the most part, I'll just skip through the random battles if you've already seen the enemies I'm fighting once before. Pick this up. I think if we talk to her, she just says the same thing, so let's head down this way. And down this way. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. That is the one thing about this game that I don't like. The camera angle changes quite often, and it's always switching, like which direction is down or, you know, sideways. Sometimes it's kind of hard to know how to navigate or what you can walk on. It's a little tough, but, you know, no big deal. Oh, for this enemy here in the back, he's a machine, so obviously he's going to be weak to lightning elemental attacks, and Cloud has a bolt attack, so we'll use that on him. I like these dynamic camera moves they have in the game, pretty sweet. And then Barrett will just take care of this guy here. Excellent. Okay, so this question mark here, these are the save points in the game. In order to save, you press triangle to go in your menu, down to save, and then just pick a slot. Now these are some files I had before, but basically what I'm going to be doing is saving at almost every save point in the game. That way I can go back whenever I want and play any part of the game that I want to. Something I've liked to do kind of traditionally growing up playing this game is to save at every point in the game, and then I can go back and, you know, if I want to show a friend a certain part, I can go back to any point I want. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so we saved. How many potions do we have? 6. That's not bad. I'm going to go over that here right now. We're going to talk about Materia a little bit. Just a second. There's something on the ground there, as you can see, so let's pick it up. And it says that we received the Restore Materia. So let's talk about Materia. So, in this game, the characters themselves don't learn spells. It's kind of a different take on magic than on previous games in the series. In this game, you obtain little spheres, like glowing kind of spheres called Materia. And anyone who has a Materia equipped will be able to use the ability that Materia contains. So let's open up. Oh wait, can we not change Materia right now? Maybe it doesn't let it do it right now. Huh. It's gonna eventually go right there. I guess we have to wait for the tutorial to allow us to switch around Materia. Anyways, I can't equip that Materia I just picked up, but that's the Restore Materia, which is like the cure spell. So it's not gonna let us use it right now. But I'll go over Materia, how to equip it, how that all works in the next episode. For now, Cloud's the only one who can use magic. So, let's do this. I really like how they do this. Like, all of the spoken text is in the blue boxes, but something that's in the mind, you know, it's just kind of left out. The text is just over the top of the game like this. I think that's a pretty cool way of doing that. Sorry if I'm going through the text too fast for you guys to read. Let me know if this is too fast. I'll try to give you enough time to read it. We got a boss fight right here. So this boss fight is pretty much the same. It's sort of like, by the way, we're going to tag with Bolt, obviously, because it's a machine. This is like the introductory boss fight. They had been doing this basically since Final Fantasy IV with the Mist Dragon, where they have a boss fight that's supposed to serve as a tutorial, but they're kind of weird because they have these phases they go into where they go into like almost a defensive mode, and if you attack it, it'll do a really powerful counterattack. There aren't really any other bosses in the game that you have to worry about this with, but it always seems to be the first boss in Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, and now in 7, where they'll kind of go into this defensive mode. It's going to do it here shortly. Might want to use, well, not yet. Let's use bolt on him again. Okay, so we're going to get a limit break here. Let me talk a little bit of what that is. In this game, limit breaks are these special moves that you get, and the bar down there, limit, it builds up. The more damage you take, basically, oh, this is what I was talking about. So it's going to go into this kind of mode right here. He's going to try and warn us, you know, make sure not to attack it when its tail is up. I know there's a typo there. So it's a good time to heal. But don't attack it when its tail is up, because it'll do a really powerful counterattack, so we just have to wait. I'll just have Bolt on standby until he goes out of there. Anyways, limit breaks build up the more damage you take. So that's why I didn't put Barrett in the back row. Usually you would put a long-range attacker in the back row so that they take less damage, because they still are able to attack for as much damage in the back row as they do in the front row. So you keep them in the back row generally so that they don't have to take as much damage. But in this game, that's not necessarily what you want to do, because you want them to get their limits built up, their limit breaks. And in order to do that, they need to be taking as much damage as possible. So for the most part, at least in the early game, I'm going to be keeping the characters on the front row so they can build their limit breaks up and use them frequently. The reason you want to do that is because in order to... I guess I'll explain this if I can, if it'll let us open the menu. I'll explain this here in just a second, how this works. Well, actually, only if it pauses the timer while I'm in the menu. We'll see if it does. Does it pause the timer? I hope so. And here we go. Okay, so there are kind of 4 levels or 4 tiers of limit breaks. And there are usually 2 limits, like 2 different abilities within each level. So we have Braver right now, but in order to unlock the next one, we have to use Braver 8 times in battle. And then we'll unlock the next one, which is Cross Slash. Now, to unlock the first limit within each one of these levels, you basically have to kill a specific number of enemies to unlock the first one. But in order to unlock the second one, you have to use the first limit in that level a certain number of times. So for example, I have Braver right now. I have to use Braver 8 times to unlock Cross Slash. Then to unlock Blade Beam, which is the first limit in the second level, I have to kill 115 enemies. Then once I have Blade Beam, I have to use Blade Beam 7 times to unlock Climb Hazard, which is the second limit in the second level. Then I have to kill 195 enemies to unlock the first limit in the third level, which is Meteor Rain, and so forth. Does that make sense? I hope so. And that did not stop the timer, but that's okay. We have plenty of time to get out of here. Don't even worry about it. So essentially, hopefully that all makes sense, but for the first limit in a tier, you have to kill a specific number of enemies to unlock it. In order to unlock the second limit break within a tier, you have to use the first limit in that tier a certain number of times. Hopefully that is clear and makes sense to you. Make sure you get Jessie unstuck. You don't want to leave her behind to blow up. And then let's get out of here. I'll go over all the battle mechanics in a lot of detail, probably not in the next episode, but in the one after that. I'll make sure to answer all of your questions about how this game works. But with all of that said, while you're fighting the enemies in this part of the game, you want to have Barrett be the one to kill, like actually deliver the final blow to as many enemies as possible, so that we can get his kill count up. The reason you want to do that is because Cloud is going to be the main party member in the game for most of the game, so he'll be getting lots and lots of kills. Barrett, on the other hand, may not be in your party all that often. So you want to get him as many kills as possible so that he can start working on learning new limit breaks. That's a huge explosion. Holy fetch. So, kind of interesting intro there. I mean, we're part of a group of terrorists that went and destroyed, like, basically a facility where electricity is generated for the city. All because they're environmentalists. They're just pissed off about the resources that they're using to generate power for the city. Very kind of different tone here than in most of the previous Final Fantasy games. Very unique. Alright, we gotta go back to the rendezvous point so that we can get paid here. Get money, get paid. Okay, one thing I want to explain about this part, we're gonna meet a character here. It's that girl there. I don't want to try and spoil too much about characters and plot and things that are coming up, but she's going to be a character that we can recruit. And there's going to be a section in the game later on where you go on a date, and you can there's a possibility of you going on a date with 4 different characters. And this character is the one that's most likely for you to go on a date with. So what I'm going to do is play the game out kind of the way that I think Cloud would react, like pick the responses that I think his character would actually say, and it's most likely that I'm going to end up going on the date with this girl. But I will tell you what responses to do so that you can choose whichever person that you want to, have that cutscene with. So, in this first part, it doesn't matter what you say for her. Like, no matter what you choose here, it has no effect on her affection towards you. But for Barrett, that guy who's leading Avalanche, and for a character we're going to meet in the next episode, what you say here does matter. So if you say nothing, then basically nothing's going to happen. Or actually, no. If you say you'd better get out of here, then nothing's going to be affected whatsoever. But if you say nothing, hey, and then don't see many flowers around here, and then you buy a flower, this will make it more likely. It'll basically bring up something later that will give you an opportunity to boost the affection of one or the other of these other characters we'll be recruiting on later on in the game. So we'll just go ahead and buy one for now, since it has no effect on her. So I kind of just broke my first rule where I would reply as Cloud would reply, but I just did that for you guys to see. What I would have normally picked was, you need to get out of here. But for the rest of the game, I'll just be responding as I think he would respond. Okay, there's something we can pick up right here, a potion. Now let's talk to this guy real quick, see what he has to say. Seems that this group Avalanche is really pissed at Shinra for whatever they're doing. They're using mako energy. We'll learn more about that a little bit later to power their city, and Shinra really doesn't seem to like, or Avalanche really does not seem to like that. For this section of the game, I recommend fighting everyone, not only because it gives you experience, but because you'll get hit and build your limit break up, and you'll get more kills to count towards your level 2 limit break to unlock. So, it's just a good idea to fight everyone you can. So I'm going to bring up the option here again. Just say fight them. Alright, there's one more battle here. So let's take care of it. These full motion video sequences were so unbelievable when this game first came out. Not so impressive today, but oh my gosh. In 1997, this was like freaking unbelievable. So this is one big change for the series. Because this game was released on the PlayStation and not for the Nintendo 64, Nintendo's censorship policies were not applied. So you're going to get some swearing in this game that you would have not seen anywhere in the scripts of the previous 6 Final Fantasy games because they were released on Nintendo consoles. So the whole kind of mood and feeling of the writing in this game feel a little more mature. I mean, not just because they're swearing in it and stuff like that, but I mean, they're allowed to say things like kill. Nintendo's censorship policies were a little insane, so they had to censor like anything that had to do with death, anything that had to do with religion, obviously any swear words or any sexual themes or anything like that. So this game doesn't have any of those censorship policies applied, so I like that. I like that about this game. However, this game does have a lot of typos and errors in its script, so that's kind of a problem. I know that there's going to be a lot of people commenting on this. They'll be talking about how, why didn't you apply the Advent Children, pack? It has a little bit higher detail character models. Makes Cloud look a little bit more like his Advent Children version than the PlayStation version. And my answer to that is that while some of them look pretty good, like Cloud's model looks pretty good, I don't like the others so much. I think that this pack that I applied is kind of the overall most consistent and aesthetically pleasing version. So I like this. I like this version of the mods the best. But there are a whole lot that you can apply. And again, the link in the video description will send you, direct you to a video I made where I can show you how to install these mods. And you can choose whichever ones you want. Let's talk to Jessie here. Alright, so she's going to explain the map of Midgar. Kind of give us some exposition on the setting for the game, some background sort of stuff. Basically what they're going to talk about, or what this information is supposed to convey, is that the city of Midgar rests on a plate, like a big saucer plate, and all of the, I guess you'd call it the wealthy, live on the top part of this plate. you know, the flashy part of the city, the high end of town. And there are, as she's explaining now, there are 8 different reactors throughout the city that supply power to it. Underneath this plate are the slums where the poor people live. And so this plate kind of like blocks out the sky for them and pollutes their air. All the exhaust that is, you know, comes from the power that's being used on the top plate kind of gets filtered underneath. And so you have this really beautiful, you know, modern city on top, and then underneath you have all of these people who are living in filth. And so this train that we're riding right now is taking us from the top plate down to the bottom. And for the most part, a lot of this game, at least for the early part of the game, is going to be taking place in this city. It's going to be a little while before we are able to set loose and kind of go explore the whole world. So, for those of you who don't like this Midgar setting, I apologize. It's going to be a little while before we're out of here, but we will eventually be able to explore much richer looking areas. Alright, if you talk to her again, she will say that she's going to make one just for us. Now, if we say looking forward to it, it's going to take affection away from a character we'll be meeting in the next episode. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say thanks anyways, and this will not affect anything. I also think it's most likely the thing Cloud would say, so go talk to Barrett again. They do bleep out F words, though. That didn't make it through. The thing is that that word doesn't really exist in the Japanese language, so I'm really curious as to what he, like, actually said, and why they translated his dialogue to be, like, so rough. For any of you that are experts on Japanese and have played this game in Japanese, let me know. Freaking full motion video sequences, man. These blew my mind. I had the PC version as a kid, and so there was a folder I could go in and just watch the full motion video sequences, just kind of like pull them up in like Windows Media Player, and I would just watch them over and over and over again. I was like so blown away and so impressed by those FMVs. There was a specific one I watched quite often. I'm certain you guys know which one I'm talking about. Funny thing about that scene is that I watched the FMV for it before I got to that point in the game, so I already knew what was coming. Kinda spoiled it for myself. Why is he saying this out loud? He's shouting right in front of this Shinra guard behind him. Well, I don't know if he works for Shinra. Maybe he just works for the train, but he's wearing a uniform that looks like a Shinra uniform. And he's just shouting out loud, "Hey, we're Avalanche. We're going to blow up another reactor. It's going to be even bigger than this." What are you thinking, man? Alright, you can talk to these guys here, but I guess I'll do it. They're just a couple that, you know, they're swooning over each other. Alright, we're going to come to our next save point here, and that's where I'll stop, but I want to talk to this guy first. What were you doing? Acting awfully suspicious there. Okay, so what this guy is talking about, it'll actually show us here right now. But basically there's a central pillar, like a big central pillar that holds up the plate, and then there are these other pillars that are kind of more towards the outside of the saucer in each sector. So there are 8 different sectors of the city, so each one has one of these large support pillars basically that hold the plate up. Later, bro. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop for now. Go ahead and save it. And next time we'll be meeting some new characters. Whoops, nope, I want to do this. We'll be meeting some new characters, and maybe I'll have some time to go more in depth on kind of some gameplay mechanics, the battle system, materia system, limit breaks, how they all work. And if you have any questions, just make sure to ask me in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching. Peace.